Welcome to part 2 of my bookshelf tour. This is going to be from here down of this shelf, and then I'll have a third part later. If you haven't seen part 1, go ahead and check that out. Leave it linked down below. I'll also leave part 3 linked down below. And let's get on with it. Okay, so this is the first shelf of part 2. First I have my little Tina Funko Pop, my TBR jar that I don't ever use, but I should. A little Pink Sands Yankee Candle, which I absolutely love the smell. A couple of bookmarks, my bookmark jar. This one, fun fact, came from a used book that I got about Claude Monet. It was a children's book, so I thought that was really cute and I kept it. Then I have a little skull speaker. It used to light up, his eyes were red, but it doesn't work anymore because I can't find the cord. So yeah, story of my life. Alright, so just moving things. First I have Percy Jackson, The Sea of Monsters. Then I have Pride and Prejudice by Jane Austen. The Secret Garden by Frances Hodgson Burnett. Since You've Been Gone by Morgan Matson. And this one I'm on the fence about, guys. Please tell me what you think about it if you've read this. This is the best of John Blair's Two the Johnny Dixon Mysteries. My mom's boyfriend gave this to me to check out because he thought I would like it, but I honestly have no idea what it's about. So, yeah, okay, I'll try it, maybe. Then there's The Maze Runner by James Dashner. Fade by Lisa McMahon, which is the second in the Wake trilogy. I have Wake over here, I'll talk about it in a second. Then I have Grasshopper Jungle by Andrew Smith. It's kind of a funny story by Ned Vizzini. City of Bones, which I buddy read with Breanna over at Rose Petal Reader. It's by Cassandra Clare, obviously. Then I have Story of a Girl by Sarah Zarr. Every Day by David Levithan. If I Stay by Gail Farman. I'm going to start at the bottom because we started from the bottom. Now I'm sorry. Now I have Haunted Heartland, which is Ghost Stories. It's by Beth Scott and something Norman. I don't remember. Then I have When I Was the Greatest by Jason Reynolds. Shoot the Moon by Billy Letts. Then this is Wake, which I was talking about before, by Lisa McMahon. The Cellar by Natasha Preston. Doctor Who FAQ by Dave Thompson, which I don't plan on reading front to back, but I do plan on reading like excerpts, like a little at a time sort of thing. Then Sharp Objects by Gillian Flynn. Coast to Coast Ghosts by Leslie Rule. Middlesex by Jeffrey Eugenides. Clockwork Prince by Cassandra Clare. Looking for Alaska by John Green. Warm Bodies by Isaac Marion. Can we just talk about how there's going to be a sequel that's over 600 pages? Can't wait. Then there is Coraline by Neil Gaiman. Cinderella's Dress by Shauna Slayton. And The Kite Runner by Khaled Hosseini. And then I have my beautiful edition of Wuthering Heights, which I wanted to show Breanna. So this edition is illustrated, and it's got watercolor illustrations in it. It also has pretty fancy chapter pages, and the dust jacket doesn't do it justice. I don't really like the dust jacket, but look at this hardcover. So pretty. And the spine is awesome too. So I can't wait to reread this in a pretty edition, because the one we read in school was kind of ugly. So that was it for this shelf. So this is shelf number 2 of part 2. This is my series shelf. I have my Lucky Cat. Then I have a jar full of origami stars that actually are color-coded to represent the stars the rating that I gave to each book I've read this year. just a little crafty thing, you know. And then I have this jar which I never use, but I was intending on it, and I was completely out of frame when I was saying that. But, so this is a jar that I want to start using on my channel. It is a jar of questions that I want you guys to answer in the comments. So here's the question for today. What is your favorite sci-fi? So if you want to answer that in the comments, I would appreciate it. They're all questions I want answers to, so alright, anyway, then I have my Batman Arkham Knight Funko Pop and some extra origami star things. Then I have the Pure trilogy by Juliana Baggett. There's Pure, Fuse, and Burn, which I haven't read this trilogy yet. I got them each for like $1, so I thought it was worth it. Hours of entertainment for $3. Yes, please. Then I have the Divergent series. The first 2 books in the Reckoners trilogy, Steelheart and Firefight, both by Brandon Sanderson. I'm waiting to read them. Like, I want to spread them apart so that I can read them and not forget what happens by the time Calamity comes out in paperback, because it's less expensive that way. Then I have The Hunger Games by Suzanne Collins. I have the entire Twilight saga. I actually got rid of my first edition of Twilight so that I could just have one with both Twilight and Life and Death. Then I have Hollow City by Ransom Riggs. I have the first one, but my mom is borrowing it right now. Then I have the Grisha trilogy, Shadow and Bone, Siege and Storm, and Ruin and Rising, all by Leigh Bardugo. I haven't read that one yet. And I have the Lunar Chronicles. So there's Cinder, Scarlet, Cress, Ferris, Winter, and Stars Above, all by Marissa Meyer, and I love those books. So that was this shelf. Okay, now this is the very last shelf on this bookshelf, and this is a mishmash sort of shelf. First I have Bob, which is a Drake and Josh reference. It's a Webkinz, by the way. If you remember Webkinz, say I. Then I have Cornelius the Pig, which, funny story, since I was like 10 years old, I've wanted a pig named Cornelius, and I haven't eaten pork since I got that idea in my head. Then I have my little Batman bow, toss. And then my journal, toss. Then here are some books that I'm borrowing from people, including the library, I guess. So first is Percy Jackson, The Titan's Curse. I was just reading this before I filmed this video. Then this is a book I'm borrowing from my boyfriend's little sister. It was very nice of her to let me borrow it. She says it's one of her favorite books ever. There's an 8-year age difference between us, so I'm kind of looking forward to seeing what her style of reading is. Then I have This Is Where It Ends by Marika Nykamp. How to Tell If Your Cat is Plotting to Kill You. And Batman Noel by Lee Bermejo. And yes, I did just read a Batman book about Christmas. Then I have the Canterbury Classics edition of the Brothers Grimm 101 Fairy Tales. Effin' Exams by Richard Benson. I've read this a few times and it's hilarious. I recommend it if you need something to pick up your spirits. Then I have Sundays at Tiffany's by James Patterson. I also have a Wreck This Journal by Carrie Smith. I haven't really done much with it yet, so if you want a video about that, let me know. I have the Songwriter's Journal, and this is from my friend Hannah. She bought it for me for my birthday one year. I haven't written a song ever, so that's an experience. Let's try it. Then I have Night Film by Marissa Pessel, which was awesome. The Da Vinci Code by Dan Brown, which I have to read soon. Wild by Cheryl Strayed. The Greatest Adventures of Sherlock Holmes by Sir Arthur Conan Doyle. The Best Loved Fairy Tales by Hans Christian Andersen. A Thousand Splendid Suns by Khaled Hosseini, The Host by Stephanie Meyer. And then this is an interesting find, actually. I got this book at the dollar store, and it is a signed copy. Apparently it's the start of a trilogy. I know nothing about it, so if you know anything about it, let me know. The fact that it was at the dollar store impressed me, and the fact that it was signed really sold me on it. Let's see if I can find the signed part. Maybe they lied to me. Oh, nope, there it is. By M.D. Waters, by the way. Then I have The Casual Vacancy by J.K. Rowling. And then this is a book I have a complicated relationship with. It's the Zombie Survival Guide. I wanted to like it, but it's so dense, and I don't really care about what it's talking about, to be honest, but I love zombies, so I'm trying to get through it eventually. And then this is a book I am currently reading with Breanna over at Rose Petal Reader, City of Ashes by Cassandra Clare, the second book in the Mortal Instruments. And this is the book I'm currently reading too. It's called Killers, the Most Barbaric Murders of Our Time by Nigel Cawthorne, and I'm just kind of reading this a little bit at a time. See, I'm about this 70 pages into it, I want to say. And this is Batman by Craig Shaw Gardner. It is the novelization of the 1989 Batman film directed by Tim Burton. And I loved the movie, but the book was just alright. Which is opposite usually, you know? Then there's Heart of Evil by Heather Graham. Haunted America by Michael Norman and Beth Scott. This one, I don't even know how to say it. It's 14 Dark Tales, Everything's Eventual, 1408 by Stephen King. And I don't know which is the title, to be honest. Oh man, it's like really damaged. Oh, never mind, that was a gum wrapper. Okay, Everything's Eventual, 14 Dark Tales by Stephen King. I thought a page was ripped and I was gonna have a heart attack. I'm like, I can't read it. Anyway, there's The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy by Douglas Adams, which I really want to read soon. Speaking of sci-fi, anyway, there's The Game of Thrones by George R.R. Martin. Last time I tried filming this, I called it The George of Thrones. For some reason. And then The Girl with the Dragon Tattoo by Stieg Larsson. And here's a little crate I made back in middle school, so I was like 12 years old when I put a hammer in my hand. Then I have My Sister's Keeper by Jodi Picoult. Letters from Rivka by Karen Hess. Night by Elie Wiesel, which if you haven't read it and you want your heart to break, read it. It's about the Holocaust. Then I have Where the Red Fern Grows by Wilson Rawls. That one will break your heart too, by the way. 18 Best Stories by Edgar Allan Poe. The Catcher in the Rye by J.D. Salinger. Diary of a Young Girl by Anne Frank, speaking of heartbreak. Frankenstein by Mary Shelley, also kind of heartbreaking as well. Jane Eyre by Charlotte Bronte, I love the Bronte sisters. And Great Expectations by Charles Dickens. And that is it for this bookshelf. Hope you enjoyed. See you later for my next bookshelf.